It's surely with Spirit of Matter, and we have a Jupiter hour, and this is actually a moon night because it's no longer Jupiter day here. So the ascendant is in 18 degrees Cancer, which is an interesting degree. And the moon is in 18 degrees Cancer, so right now the ascendant and the moon are one. Um, so that's very interesting. And moon is decreasing. It's considered, by the way, a malefic degree. And the midheaven ruled by Mars. And Mars is in the sixth house in Sagittarius in 4th degree. Um, the topic of today has to do with Neptune. Neptune is retrogrades in the 24th degree of Pisces, which is right on my ascendant, square in my midheaven. And this is where I got the topic for this episode. So let's do it right now. Jupiter is in the 11th degree retrograde in Taurus. I want to talk about Neptune hard aspecting your midheaven. Okay, so Neptune hard aspecting your ascendant is surrendering yourself. And that explains what I have been experiencing actually. And this is the experience of being helpless in a situation, but also there's not just darkness, there's also light to it. Okay, Neptune brings all kinds of um, beauties to our world and to our life, as well as those experiences of I'm helpless to this, I'm genuinely helpless in this situation right now. But I want to talk about Neptune to your midheaven. And the reason I say that is as a natal midheaven in Sagittarius in the 26th degree, then this is a fire sign, okay? It's ruled by Jupiter, and but on a more general level, usually midheaven, as you have midheaven in Pisces or so, is usually something that is your legacy, something you consciously work for, sometimes sacrifice for, that you tend to, that you're looking for. There's the actually astrologers who would give you a particular reading for what did I come to do in my life. Okay, so but when you have a Neptune either conjuncting or hard aspecting or transiting by hard aspect conjunction or a square or position, or the minor hard aspects, okay, like the 45 degrees and so. This is where the planet of you just surrender it becomes adjoined to the thing that people usually work consciously the most. Okay, and that is their legacy. What will I be known for? What is my life work? My life, I build my life work. And usually people are thinking about legacy in terms of consciousness. How do I inspire the world? What is this thing that would be most remembered, that I would be most remembered by the larger community, okay? What purpose do I come to serve in life? Okay? And this is not just a job. In many cases, it's not your job. For some people, midheaven in the 10th house is their job. But for others, midheaven is not their job. Maybe you have it in the ninth house. You're a teacher, a guru. I don't know if you could be like a lecturer, but you could be doing something completely different for a job. So remember, there's this teacher or this traveling influencer or something like this. Yes. All the while you work, I don't know, for a high-tech company in Seattle, or it's your 11th house. Then you're known as an activist, as a this, as a that, and you work in, I don't know, in a factory or something. Okay. Then, of course, when the more rare cases where the midheaven can be in your 8th house, in your 12th house. Okay. Then you know, I don't know, as a hidden banker, the families that rule the world, or hidden wealth. Both of them govern hidden wealth, actually. Or as, God forbid, a prisoner or something like this. And then when you have Neptune adjoined to your midheaven, you surrender your legacy. It's really funny. Okay, I'm a natal. I have my midheaven 26 degrees. Yes, Sagittarius, and my Neptune natally is in 1 degree Capricorn. Yes, 1 degree or 0 degree. It's 1 degree or 0 degree. I don't remember my chart. But this is so timely now with the position of Mercury separating from a square to Neptune. It is just so timely that I'll need to take a look at my own chart again. I think it's 1 degree. Yes, 1 degree retrograde. Oh, so close to. Yes, back to the current planet. And so I'm approaching my Neptune square Neptune, absolutely. But there's also the notion that what I consciously worked for versus if I think what my legacy is not the movies that I made or the screenplays that I wrote or the stories that I've written even, but actually things that the people that I was in a juncture of facilitating something that was sometimes even life-saving for them. And this is very weird because I've studied like filmmaking, even now, astrology, self-studied. I self-studied screenwriting as well, or holistic health practitioner, and all of these things. Had my first degree, towards my second degree, had my thesis proposal, had my this, had my Me Too veteranship, yes. But if I think what my legacy is probably the people that have helped that, in situation where literally nobody was there. And I didn't understand how come I have something benefic to say to them, but somehow I was the antidote, or I had something to say there that was relevant. I had some teaching that was relevant, or I didn't even know what am I saying, if it's true, or where is it coming from, and that changed people's lives. So what my legacy is something that's completely different than what I consciously work at, or whether it's a job or as a career or as my what I'm known for. Even yes, I do astrology, yes, but when I think about the readings that I gave to people, it was cases where not the psychologist, not the psychiatrist, not the shaman could say something, and then for some godforsaken reason, I was the one for the person, and I had no idea. It was just an encounter between people, and that was it. I probably wouldn't be able to do it for the next person. Okay. That's, I don't know what happened. It happened, and that's it. So this is Neptune. Now, if it is a square, then you can be, right now I'm having Neptune squaring my midheaven, okay? It's also conjuncting my ascendant. But this is more of a crisis situation because it can be a situation where the natural surrender that could be with the trine or the sextile is some sort of crisis. Yes? And having midheaven in the 10th house, so it is career. And so you want to set an appointment with the person, then you go through an existential breakdown and feel completely helpless. And next thing you know, you didn't get out of bed. So there is this great surrender that happens, but it's through a crisis. Okay, you feel like, what is going on? More so than you feel like, I don't know, it was going this way, but life had other plans for me. So I want you to know that wherever your midheaven is, if you got the Neptune adjoining it with a conjunction, whether it's trine, the trine and the sextile, it just might mean that surrender is there, and there can be a point of creativity for you. Yes, you could go viral as well, although that can be probably more with the conjunction. And surrender, that is more of the hard aspects, then it is a good teaching for you because this episode, because if you will go to somebody who doesn't work with outer planets, okay, they probably can do it with their tools, or probably get to quite similar results. But if you go to people and you try to look for, how do I take responsibility of my life, and how do I create a legacy, and how do I build, how do I structure, what I'm known for. And astrology is a great tool to do that, because this is timing, and to have something that won't repeat in years, then you can go to an astrologer or to a lectional astrology, or you can learn astrology and do it yourself, and sort of have, okay, what is this in the spirit of the time? Yes. Only now when I think about it, I'm like, yes, I'm one of those people who can talk about the Neptune conjuncting the midheaven, which not all people have, and these transits, and so this is also quite timely. But the thing is that no astrologer will be able to help you out with this. What is my, Kyra Ryberg calls it my acorn. She's an acorn. She's a stellium in the night, I think, with the midheaven. So you could watch the interview in the Spirit of Matter long time series. But that is just. But that is just it. If you've got a Neptune there, that you're gonna have these sudden sparks of inspiration, and then something happens, okay? Or you go in a certain direction, you're compelled to do it, okay? Like these videos, I'm compelled to do these videos. It's relaxing for me, it's healing for me, it's an outlet for me, it's a constant in my life. Very interesting. But it happens, and I kind of enjoy that. compelled to do that. So for some people say, oh, it's going nowhere. And this is where it's also a hidden fortune, okay? Neptune can be about liquidity, about the hidden fortune, a type of hidden wealth as well, because it doesn't seem in the material world, it doesn't seem like, let's say, to have a podcast and have a video every day, and you have maybe a few viewers and slowly some more subscribers, kind of like you don't monetize the thing, or nothing happens. Okay, nothing happens in the material world. You go viral or something, we're not concerned about it either. You just do it. And for other people, it's kind of like, well, to do this every day, how do you do this every day? It's like, it just happens. It's flow. It's hidden wealth. And there's a sense of surrendering to this, okay? When I think about this, I was doing the podcast, and my mother's like, Henry Kissinger died. And I was like, oh, I guess I should say something about this. So it's hidden wealth. It's a hidden piece of history that you look at. And just a while before that, I did an episode about Henry Kissinger. I wasn't predicting his death or anything like that. I didn't know anything, but yes, it's a lived experience. If I look at the Spirit of Matter, where I could do interviews, yes, I woke up with Spirit of Matter and I did interviews. Okay, so Neptune won't mean you won't do anything. It's just that you surrender the when it is seen, by whom it is seen, when you go viral, when people know, what people don't know, what you got to say, how they got to interpret that is beyond you. Is you like you surrender that, and then there is a certain wealth that comes with it. But with the hard aspects, is a crisis before you get to the, oh shit, I have been recording so many episodes, and even, even if the world is where the world is, it's kind of like, oh, but then I see I have 324 subscribers who do watch my episodes every once in a while. But eventually it is me that, eventually it is like it's a lived experience that accumulates. When you look at backwards, when you're back in your life, I say every episode here I wanted to make. Every episode here I desired to bring to the world. Every episode here is what I could tend to. And that is, if I would try to write a book, let's say, where nobody necessarily reads that until you publish it, if you get to publish it, now I have a corpus of time that accumulates with documented memories and a lot of things that can lead to by me or by people who will view that, and that's some 3-4 years. Like, where did time like, where was time? What? Okay, this is Neptune. It's not the grind. I was not doing the grind. to surrender and flow. And this is a blessing to be able to do that, especially in a time where I cannot set an appointment with anyone or do anything or this or that. This is kind of like, this happens. It's a joy. And so I also want you to have the optimistic, the optimism here is that there is wealth that accumulates. And Neptune, because it is a slow mover, and you can be like a message in a bottle. The people that are known beyond their life, okay, or become viral after their death, many of them have Neptune associated with the midheaven. Yes, granted that you're not known for being missing or God forbid something like that, but it's known in your absence, and it's known beyond your life, known beyond your death, and it's a legacy that accumulates over time and history, where even you take time and history to see that, oh, that's my legacy is laden. My legacy is abundant. It's abundant in a way different to the realities of those worlds. Okay? So if you're a fellow midheaven Neptune, about a conjunction, a hard aspect, then this is for you. Because at times it's going to feel, it's going to not just feel big. Oh, what is the direction to my life? My life is having no direction, is having no this, is having no that. This is both independent, and that can be a couple of years. And if you take the wider orbs, the Neptune in your first house can be some 20 years or so. Okay? And it's a lived experience, which is not something you consciously work at being, and then you get this disillusionment. You then say, oh, what is on? And there is a sense of longing with Neptune that can be longing to be, but then there is accumulating wealth that just takes, if Saturn takes 28 years to complete a cycle, Neptune is in the hundreds. So in your life, what your Neptune related achievements or accumulated wealth or accumulation of lived experience, as you will only see this in times like this, when Neptune is at your ascendant or midheaven, and now it's retrograde, it's almost stationing to go direct. So in December. So it is in the process, is almost, it moves so slow that's almost like what is it? But as you look back, you look at things like, oh wow. And it's a lived experience, okay? And that can be isolating, because you don't do life the way the average Joe does life. You don't experience life the way people experience life, and you don't do life the way people do life. And if people have, 1, 2 years where they like don't know what to do with themselves, and then they get a grip of themselves, you would spend significant amount of your life in this process. But there's also going to be magical experiences to this. So if you are feeling like those things that promote, whether it's hustle or to build your legacy and how important it is to have a legacy. Yes, it is important. Yes, tending to it is important, but it's done differently with Neptune. It's surrender. Why is it surrender? Okay, this is a planet that moves so slowly that you think about the ocean. You throw a message in a bottle. It lands in the bottom of the ocean, and then it's being pulled from the bottom of the ocean because some wave brings it to the shore. Some sea creature eats it, then poops it. Some other sea creature eats the poop, and then a whale comes and it spews it, and it's on the shore. It's like, what's this bottle? And you open the bottle, there's a message in it. And it's from centuries ago. And it's still relevant. That's the power of Neptune. It's a hidden power. So at a certain time it seems lost, and at a certain time it is found. You seem lost, but then it's found. Okay? This is why when it comes to Neptune, when it comes to Pisces, great compassion is needed, because if you did something so long ago, then it's being pulled from the ocean. But there's also a love buffer, a compassion needed. Okay, there can be disillusionment from people that were centuries ago, but there can also be the compassion, because there's so much time has passed. But not only that, because there's such helplessness to do with Neptune. It's like, what can I do? And that builds the kind of bird's eye view where you can look at the things from a different point of view, having processed time. And things with Neptune take that time. You really need all that much time when it comes to those Neptunian experiences. And there are places where, like, what can I do? But then, what you can do is surrender. What you can do is surrender. So I thought that might be significant to talk about, because right now it touches the people who have midheaven, Pisces, midheaven, Sagittarius in the square, midheaven, Gemini in the square, midheaven, Virgo, kind of like the last degrees of Virgo. So in the opposition. But Also, it also the middle phase of Taurus in the 45 degrees. Yes, the middle of Capricorn in the 45 degrees. Okay, those two. So, to those that it concerns, you know that there's that thing that that when you try to consciously direct your life, poof, it surrenders. And it's a lived experience that accumulates. It's kind of like taking a movie and stretching out the time. So it looks like, oh, it doesn't move, it doesn't go, it doesn't. But the bigger picture you will see, perhaps when you cross over, and perhaps a couple of generations even after you cross over, there's a lived experience in which you play a part. That's the Neptune thing. To some degree, the Piscean placements have some of that. But it's also timeless. You will see that you wrote, let's say you wrote something 3 decades ago, and you look at it, it's like, did I write this yesterday? Because it feels so real. Or it feels like, who wrote that? I wrote that, I wrote that, who wrote that? Where did this come from? Now is the time, now when Neptune was squaring Mercury, there was some time to write these things. So, I hope this is useful for you. I hope you can understand the helplessness situation around this. Hope this gave you some validation, but not only validation. Okay, validation is Venus, but also a change of your worldview to understand that you're not lost in the bigger picture. It might be spiritual woo-woo for you, but also that the feeling of being helpless is also very real, because there's a significant amount of time of your reality where you spend feeling I am helpless. And you genuinely are the lived experience of being a victim in a situation. So, this is where, surrender comes in. And yes, if with other planets, let's say you have a crisis with Mars, and Mars not your like worst malefic thingy that's kind of like, so you don't die from it. Then at the time it seems like, oh, this was horrible. You go to the gym, okay, and you have a good kind of like a Soviet coach, and during the workout you're like, this is terrible, and you want to curse and you want to swear and you want to, after this you sleep tight and you're like, oh, thank you, God bless you, thank you, I love you. Okay, you wanted to kill the guy. Oh, but then you see your fitness, you're like, I'm stronger, I like this. Yes, so the intervals between the time are just enough for you to be able to see that maybe I suffer a little bit, but it's worth it. In the end, it's worth it. With Saturn, it's more difficult to see. But if you're more Saturnian, then you see it. Okay. Um, and with a planet like Pluto, again, more difficult to see. And with a planet like Neptune, it's kind of like, where is this? I don't see this going anywhere. Yes, but you will look 70 years from now at this time. And as Neptune is finishing up in Pisces sidereally, I haven't begun to watch it, but it's just the first minute. Apparently, Neptune is sidereally just moving to Pisces. So it's wrapping up in sidereal Aquarius. And so I guess I'm called to talk about this Neptune, not just because of its transit in retrograde my ascendant. Last time it was on my ascendant like this, I think 2020 something. Yes. That's why I reflect a lot of the time where I was in between houses and so on and so forth. And in retrospective, okay, at that time I said, I don't have a teaching. I was the person who's delivering all the information about red flags, if you need to leave a relationship, if this is not good for you, and this and that. And I walk out of this one and I was like, I don't have a teaching. Okay. Yeah, now I understand there's 2030. I understand some things, but it's way more than that. And I thought I was going to work on my business. So when I left where I was living, I was like, okay, I'm not going to take just every apartment. I want to think about my business and plan ahead. And then, life had completely other plans. And I was supposed to do doggy sitting. That was canceled. And I was in the street. Just happened. Okay, so but on the level of the looking back, then because it takes more time, then it's more of a looking back at the time, it's more of a bird eye view, and um, and now you can think about the beginning of when Pluto was in sidereal Aquarius or in Pisces, the beginning of Pisces, and you look back and you're like, well, there is more of me in my body if it's the first house. There is more understanding to things if it's, kind of like in midheaven. And also some information. I had a conversation about the family of my father today, things that I did not know. And the 10th house, of course, is the father, one's the parent of the father, mother. But this is very interesting, okay? Because Neptune is kind of like it dredges from, you talk about some 30, 40 years. This is Neptune. Guys, this ain't Saturn. This ain't Saturn. This is Neptune. So just like when Mercury was squaring Neptune, I got this old email account and Google's like, you're gonna lose it if you don't log in. When was this account created? 2010. Okay, it's 2023. Whatever mood I was, the name of the account was Sorry for You, which seems like somebody psychically attacks you with the spirit of today. It's kind of like, and of course I changed the name, and then the email was so ironic. So, and now the word that here in Israel is Aaron's words. So ironic. It was during the Hudna. But it's also this thing, when I think about it, talk about Neptune thing, is it's also Chiron. I think about 1973, and I was thinking about this, realizing that the thing I got about the children of 1973 was real, because I thought it was a joke, and that had to do with cleaning, and basically I wrote something on the 6th of October about this, and they said 2024 will be similar, unfortunately. On probably the time that I was writing, the intruders were already there, and the 7th of October we woke up, 6 a.m. So there's alarms, the sirens. Okay, we are in the stairs, the sirens, and it takes a couple of hours. Usually it takes no more than half an hour. If it's really big deal, it's a couple of hours. And then we find out that there is an invasion. And at this point, I understand already what's going on, because I learned about this from 1973. And then I say, I think I said it to Lada on a comment. I said, we are Maui. And I try to warn people the best I can. And I read more about Maui. And indeed, you were precise. As I'm sure also in Gaza, what we call Palestine, so the 2030 thingy, and all the strings were pulled. But this is Chiron, but this is also beginning to give you a snippet of the timelines of Neptune. Beginning to give you a snippet. Because this is where the passage of time is just one time. Okay, so when you think about your midheaven or your life mission or your legacy, what I have to say to you: worry not, my friend, because many times your loss is your gain. When it comes to Neptune, if people tell you there's a loss, sometimes they forget to tell you your loss is your gain in many cases. Today we have, I saw on Facebook, one of the people that died in the conflict, they were this person that did so many things in his life, traveled and did photo shoots, did like so many things. And at the funeral, there's somebody close to him. I did not know it. It's a post that I read. I had no idea who this person is. So this person that was close to him said, "Oh, it's just so good that he's not here anymore, isn't it?" and the writer of the post said this is the type of humor that he liked. And I won't say the words, but yes, there were some people that I was doing, their charts, and they were no longer. And I said, they know when to go, huh? And they went away. And this is also all the places where loss is sometimes, before, if I think about what's happening with the standardization of health professions and holistic health and this and astrology, I didn't do anything that would keep me dependent financially on this particular endeavor. I didn't take any steps where this would be like my main income. And then I was like, oh, it's like it's not booming in the sense of like monetizing my channel or anything like that, but I'm ready for this such a thing or not. But the thing is, as things came about and I realized where my taxes are going, I think I don't even understand the extent of this because this is so wow. Then I realized, why was this not proceeding anywhere? Because it was like, oh, I can't seem to make this a job, a steady income. And then you look back and it's kind of like, oh, so that thing was coming up, okay? Or whether it was the COVID, whether it was the standardization, whether it was the 2030, whether it was the democide that's in the world, and so on and so forth. It's like, oh, that was coming up. So unfortunately, yes, it's a situation of a situation. Okay. And you do see that things are more malleable on a very, like a year, but more understandable in the level of decades with this planet. And there is progress. It's just a very slow progress, and you can't stay slow and steady here because this is Neptune. So yes, hope this was helpful.